Aside from having to do media today, I understand I'm in for you like number three today. How's your day going aside from talking about yourself a ton?
Amazing. We just finished this summer Unity tour, so it's kind of nice just to be at home and able to do these, which is very real.
Sure. I had the pleasure of seeing that tour a couple weeks ago, Jones Beach.
Oh,
You've been playing that venue for like 30 years now, weren't you there with Van Halen in 95?
we were. That's crazy to think about that. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. That Jones Beach show was, I mean, this latest one was crazy. It was literally canceled for a minute and
Yeah.
then the rains let up, but I mean, it was postponed. The opening band didn't get to play. I know people. Well, we had a lot of people that were like, "Man, I can't make it. Like the rains are too crazy." It was a record for rains in like an hour or something in New York, right?
Exactly, exactly. And they made you cut your set short on
Cut the
top of
set
that.
short. Yeah, I mean, it was slim pickings out there, but you know, we're
Well,
looking forward to. We're about to announce a headlining tour in the U.S. and obviously New York will be on that. So we're looking forward to getting back and doing a real show without the rain.
without the rain. So about a year and a half ago, I saw the band play at Irving Plaza here in New York. And to me, that's an interesting thing about Our Lady Peace. How adaptable the band is, because some nights you're the first of three. Some nights you're headlining to 20,000 people. Some nights it's a club, etc. Do you have basically three or four different set lists or backlines or those kinds of strategies that you have these days?
Not really. I mean, we kind of embrace it all. A stage is a stage, really. Sometimes, obviously, if it's an arena or something, the production's different. But at the end of the day, it's about the songs and it's about the four of us on stage. And I think that's actually a pretty special thing because I think it works no matter what. And I really admire that about the four of us is that we can make whatever work.
Make whatever work. Okay, I see what you did right
There you
there.
go.
I see what you did right there, and you brought back whatever on this tour. And I know that you re-recorded with Nick Raskulinecz, and I've been following Nick for a long time because he grew up with one of my favorite bands, Superdrag, and Superdrag led him to the Foo Fighters, which led him to everything. Do you remember how you first found Nick or found out about Nick?
I mean, I'd heard the name because he worked here in LA at Sound City. And so I just, through different producers and engineers and stuff, they were like, oh, yeah, there's this dude, Nick. You guys should think about working with him. And we ended up working with Bob Rock when Nick was kind of in the mix at one point. Um, but then when I finally got to meet him, I mean, look, he's done the last five Deftone records. I'm a massive Deftone fan. It seems like the whole world is these days. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, he is a special dude because he is in it, man. Like he has a joy for music that is infectious, that is authentic,
Mhm.
and it translates into the speakers. And so he's just a pleasure to work with.
You mentioned the Deftones a second ago, and I was surprised to see a couple of weeks ago. I didn't know the Deftones have a tequila on the market. Is that something that's on your radar?
I didn't know they did either. Of course they do. No,
So
no, I
where
don't think
I'm
so.
going with that with relation to you is a band like Our Lady Peace that is now 30 years of prominence and all that. There must have been some licensing offers and things of that nature. Was there ever almost a spirit or a liquor or a beer for Our Lady Peace?
No, but we did get into the cannabis business for a minute, just because there was this amazing company out of Canada that started, and they did end up making it. But their whole thing was like they were going to use the profits from cannabis sales. So we were ambassadors. It's called Loophole, and they were going to start like a fund for musicians, whether it was to help musicians who couldn't make, who needed health insurance or needed funding for videos or albums, and it was just like this amazing idea. That's about as close as we've been to anything like that.
Got it. So the OLP 30 is underway, or at least it's almost concluded. A couple of EPs, a couple of new recordings that we've gotten, etc.
Yeah,
Where are you at in terms of going, let's make another record?
we're kind of there. We just wanted to put something out because we've recorded this first batch of songs with Nick. We didn't know only doing three with him at the time, and so it's always been the intention to go back and finish an album. So we're gonna probably start doing that over the next few months.
Oh, wow. Would you be recording that in LA if so?
I don't know. We did the first three songs we did with Nick in Nashville, where he lives now. And that was super dope. We worked at this amazing studio where Neil Young recorded Harvest.
Hmm.
And then we re-recorded Whatever, which is a song that we did from the WWE Longer
Yeah.
Story, but we recorded that in Toronto. So I think, Nick's kind of like wherever you guys want to do this. Two of us live in LA. Maybe it'll be LA next. I'm not sure. We haven't decided yet.
Speaking of WWE, I think that you guys kind of trended a year or two ago when Cody Rhodes was interviewed and they said favorite band, and he said Our Lady Peace. Was that had something that was on your radar?
I wasn't at all. And I've always liked Cody Rhodes. He's just a different dude to me, even in the scope of like the WWE. There's just something he's always been seen like an outlier, but the guy's a real deal, man. Because I kind of tested him. I was like, "Are you? I appreciate you. You're like a real fan." He's like, "Yo, there's a song that we have on a record called Somethingness, which is like two records ago, deep cut, called Ballad of a Poet," and he was like, that's the song I listen to before I walk out on any of these big stages, like the big promotions, like the WrestleMania stuff. And I was like, really? He's like, absolutely. So he is the real deal. Been trying to get him out to a show for a minute. Maybe on this next headlining tour that we're doing in the US in March, we can get him out.
The funny counterpoint to that was him saying that Our Lady Peace was his favorite band, and Stone Cold Steve Austin going, "Who? Don't know who
Yeah,
they
I
are."
know. Well, yeah, there you go. There's an age gap there, right?
Well, that makes me think a little bit because Our Lady Peace to me is one of those bands where it seems like all the fans are all in, maybe have the lyrics tattooed on them,
Yeah.
that kind of a thing, or they go, don't really know who they are. When did you kind of realize that that was the fan base, that they were all in or not?
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, whatever for whatever reason, you're right. Like the tattoos and the fans are just they're super passionate. I am like if the OLP 30 meant anything, it was just showing the gratitude for that type of fan base because
Yeah.
it's kind of unique. And so yeah, very lucky.
So, in terms of your career, it's been interesting to see that Our Lady Peace keeps growing and finding new fans, etc. But you also found success writing for other artists, having your indie label, having the artist venture that you mentioned a couple of minutes ago. Has that been the
Yeah.
plan all along to use that platform to grow your own thing?
I mean, I just gotta stay creative. I do a lot of tech stuff now. Tech to me is like I have a platform called FanDrop, which is really about helping artists connect directly to their fans, not relying on Instagram or TikTok. I mean, those things are fine to use, but we're fools if we think that they care about artists and their fans. They're just trying to make money. So the idea of building a community that you actually own is really important, and FanDrop helps artists do that. But that's as creative as writing a song to me, like building a platform like that. The fact that it helps artists and fans connect is just a bonus. I don't write so much for artists as I used to anymore. I've kind of moved more on the tech side, but like I said, I have to find ways to be creative every day, and having other things that do that besides just being an OLP is pretty important, I think, just to the creative brain. That makes sense.
Yeah, the Irving Plaza show that I mentioned before started off with a kind of robot AI. I don't want to spoil it in case people are going to come out in the future. Or was that just a one-off for that tour?
It was because that was supporting it was kind of just after COVID, so it was a weird time, but that was supporting Spiritual Machines too, which is based on, you know, the probably one of the leading futurists in the world, a guy named Ray Kurzweil, who talked about AI 25 years ago. And so we made a follow-up to that first Spiritual Machines record. And Ray's talking on Spiritual Machines too. And so yeah, I mean the the technology part of our Lady Peace is very prominent, and sometimes it's not. Like on Gravity, that record we did with Bob Rock, there was
Hmm.
nothing like that. But we tend to veer off into these lanes that are a little bit more conceptual sometimes.
I want to come back to the Bob Rock thing in a second, but the other side of the tech is seeing at Jones Beach, you had a QR code in your backdrop. I don't think I've ever seen a band have a QR code in a backdrop, and it didn't seem out of place. It didn't seem icky or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that was it. It's like anyone that checked in and hit that QR code, they're part of our community now. We are giving away this amazing custom guitar because we partnered with a charity from New York called Artists for Action. But
Oh yeah, Matt
yeah,
Reich, right?
Matt's a,
Yeah.
yeah, Matt's a great friend of mine in the bands. And so um again, it's I look at it like if you've come to an Our Lady Peace show, we think you're a super fan. You might not feel that way. It's our responsibility to make you feel that way. And checking in through Fan Drop gets us directly connected. So, you get exclusive merch drops, videos, links to things that other people don't get. It's this really kind of exclusive community and a way to say thank you, if that makes sense.
It makes sense to me at least. But the
Yeah.
Bob Rock thing, I grew up a big Motley Crue fan. Obviously, the Black Album is great, but I wrote a book about David Lee Roth, the Van Halen singer you did not tour with,
Yeah.
and Bob also did an album by Roth in that same era that he Doctor Feel Good and the Black Album. What was the album or particular thing that made you go rather? Hey, Bob Rock is the producer for Our Lady Peace, because again, the influences that most people think Our Lady Peace are having are not probably what there are.
They're not. And so I think the thinking was we just made Spiritual Machines, like this first record. It was a very like conceptual record based on a book by Ray Kurzweil called The Age of Spiritual Machines.
Yeah.
Very out there musically. I guess it's a rock record, but not in a typical sense. And so that was so left of center. We just felt like, hey, let's get back. Let's make like our first album, The Vide, was a total rock and roll record. It was drums, bass, guitar, no keyboards, no piano, nothing. And we felt like, hey, let's try to get back to that in a sense. And so Bob is kind of that guy, he's like, the name Bob Rock is very real. And so we met with a bunch of producers here in LA, and Bob couldn't meet us. So he's like, why don't you guys just come to Maui for a few days, and we'll just try a couple things. And we're like, that sounds pretty good. So we did, and it was just easy. It was so easy to work with him. He kind of he's like an addition by subtraction guy, So it's like the song has to be able to stand up just with the simplest, instruments, not adding stuff. And once we figured that out with him, it was like, yeah, this is the right place to be at that moment in time.
I don't think the average person realizes how many albums they love were touched in some way by Vancouver through Bob Rock or Bruce Fairbairn or
That's right.
whatever.
Yeah. Because he
I
was an
also
engineer in a bunch of big records.
exactly, and I
Yeah.
also think of Bryan Adams and Jim Valance and Loverboy and all that. Were there any ties in any way between Our Lady Peace and Bryan Adams and Jim Valance?
Nothing. Like I'd never met Bob before. I didn't know those guys.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, but it's funny, like since then we played some shows with Bryan Adams on some festivals. Great dude. Never got to meet Jim. But yeah, they're like even Randy Staub, who's from Vancouver, who mixed our record. He's kind of retired now, but he's a huge mix engineer, mixed tons of amazing albums, including the back album. But yeah, Vancouver's like, people don't know, it's a hotbed for talent for sure.
Which of your albums were made in Vancouver?
Nothing was really made there. We mixed Gravity there, and we recorded the like Somewhere Out There, which was a big single for us, has like a God, I don't know if it was 48 or 64 piece string section that we recorded at Bryan Adams' studio in Vancouver. That was a trip to have this massive string section playing along to our song. Man, there's not a I don't know if there's a better feeling than that when you're sitting back listening to that. It's pretty surreal.
Was that studio the Warehouse? That's
It was the
Brian.
warehouse. Yeah, it was Brian's like the A room at the warehouse is this massive room that they could fit all those people in. And like I said, it was a thrill to do it there and hear it back.
So bringing it forward to today, is Our Lady Peace one of these bands where there's four members who live in four different cities?
Two of us live in LA, two of us live in Toronto, which actually works out well because I think I love Toronto. There's some great places to record there. I'm sitting in my studio here in LA. We've done a lot of work here as well. So it's kind of good that we can go back and forth.
So most of the writing and the creative, I'm assuming, happens in LA. Do the rehearsals usually happen in LA too?
We've done both. Like before, we did a big arena tour back in March, and so it was in Canada specifically. So we went to Toronto. We did a bunch of stuff there, but actually we just re-recorded a song called Whatever, which was
Mhm.
a Chris, it was a WWE song. We did that in Toronto with Nick Raskulinecz, who lives in Nashville, came up to Toronto and we recorded there. I think what we've realized as a band is it's important to change it up because you can kind of get comfortable in situations, and that's not a good thing for us. Maybe for some other bands it is, but we need to feel like things are fresh and we're not just rinse and repeat.
Sure. So down to the last two questions here. Um, as a fan, what's the last concert that you went to for fun? And I realize that a lot of ours go, if I'm not on the road, I'm not going to a concert. But at the end of the day, you're still a fan.
Yeah, yeah. For me, it was Florence and the Machine. I'm a massive fan of hers and her vocals and songs, and it was an incredible concert. I mean, she is rock and roll. People don't really know that, but when you see her live, you're like, this is like Zeppelin. It was very cool.
And then the last thing, looking at the whole Our Lady Peace career, and most bands do not make it to 30 years, most bands don't make it to 10 years, etc.
Yeah.
Is there anything you haven't done in your career that you're still hoping would happen? I don't imagine that you're a I want to do a Bond theme kind of artist, but there are any things like that that you're still hoping you'll get asked all these years later?
Yeah, I want to do a tiny desk, an NPR tiny desk. I love how when we play kind of like tighter and broken down, I think this band really shines as well. So to be able to go in that environment, I think it'd be pretty exciting.
Oh, I think that's fully attainable, and I'd predict 2026 that's going to happen. But
I love it. I love it. Let's go.
in the meantime, hey, thank you for the decades of great art. Hope to see you live in New York in the very near future. Looking forward to that next record with Nick. And hey, Rain, thanks for all the positive vibes you put out
Oh
there.
man, I appreciate you. Thanks so much. Have a great day.
Paltrocast